So what's going on? Well, Governor Fisker and President Biden have something in common, and we're not talking about them being politicians. We're talking about them both having tested positive for COVID. In the city of Chicago last week, they were talking a lot about the speed cameras. Right now they're set at 6 miles an hour over. The camera can issue you a ticket. They want to bump it up to 10 miles an hour. That failed. It appears to be, to me, more of a money-grabbing issue.
Come here, my pretty.
But what do I know? The other thing I know is that they were fussing over the drag racing in Chicago.
Oh, come on. This is just nuts. How dangerous.
And now they'll actually confiscate the car. Right now, there's a fine of $5,000 to $10,000 if you get caught drag racing, plus another $500 tow fee. Anyway, let's get to today's topic. So today, let's talk about insurance, the history of insurance in our country here. Back in the colonial times, insurance really didn't exist. But as our nation started its existence, we got insurance. The first insurance company was the Philadelphia Contributionship. It's an interesting name. And it was founded by none other than Benjamin Franklin in 1752. So consider this is the mid-1700s. And Philadelphia was actually a thriving metropolis of a whole 15,000 people or so. The homes were basically built of brick, and they were built on wide streets. But Philadelphians were concerned about what happened in London in the 1600s, where there was the Great London Fire. So the Philadelphia Contributionship was founded, and it was based on fire loss. Your homes had to be inspected, and if you were approved, believe it or not, the policies were for 7 whole years. And if there happened to have been a claim, it was paid out of a capital reserve fund established by the Philadelphia Contributionship. So, even back in colonial times, or at the beginning of our country, there was underwriting that took place. And the Philadelphia Contributionship, they would decide if a home was acceptable. Were the building standards good? Were they bad? And this started the initial building codes and zoning laws that we have in America today. So the insurance industry has really grown since then. In 1897, Travelers was the first insurance company to offer an automobile insurance policy. Wow, just think about it today. I mean, can you turn your TV on without seeing the Flo commercial, the Geico commercial, Jake, Mayhem with Allstate, the EWOO with Liberty Mutual? So we've changed a lot. And Travelers was also the first insurance company to offer insurance for aircraft. And let's go back to Benjamin Franklin for a minute there. Did you know Benjamin Franklin was also very, very instrumental in starting a life insurance company? As this country started to grow and we became the big production powerhouse, during the Industrial Revolution, insurance companies also started to offer commercial insurance to businesses. And how about during the Great Depression, about 1935, Social Security came into place. Isn't Social Security a different form of, or another form of insurance? Social Security helped provide income to elderly people, but it also provided disability income to people who can't go to work. That's a form of insurance, isn't it? And then as World War II was coming to an end, a lot of businesses started to purchase group health insurance and life insurance for their workers. And as always, the insurance industry has had its detractors. Initially, a lot of religious groups were against the insurance industry because they didn't like the idea of putting a dollar value on human suffering and human life. But as time has gone on, a lot of these religious groups have come to realize that this dollar value was actually helping to protect people. A dollar value, if somebody died, their beneficiaries got this money that they otherwise wouldn't have received if somebody was disabled. this dollar value helped them maintain some type of standard of living that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And claims help pay the financial loss. So a lot of these religious groups have kind of turned around now. The other thing with insurance is now most insurance is actually regulated by the local states. It used to be regulated many, many, many years ago by the federal government, but they turned it over to local states. If we can look into the future, I actually believe there's going to be more government intervention in insurance and more takeover of the industry for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have very much faith in politicians, and I think it's a power grab. But I also think it's going to be predicated on the fact that people are today inappropriately buying insurance on their own. These claims are not going to be paid correctly or what they expect, and therefore the government will once again have to intervene to save us from ourselves. Mark, what are you talking about? The government can come in and tell us what kind of insurance we have to buy? Well, actually, think about it. Remember I said Social Security. Isn't that a form of insurance? That came out in the mid-1930s. There you go. Oh, hey, what about more recently? In most everybody's memory, the Affordable Care Act. Governments come out and said you have to buy a policy and it has to have 10 essential benefits like drug coverage, maternity. I don't need maternity, I'm a guy. Or I'm a woman who can't get pregnant. Or I'm not sexually, but you have to have it. So yes, I do see more government intervention, and very possibly over the millennials' lifetime, they might find that the government has taken over the insurance industry. And there's two reasons to do that. Because one, people just are not responsible. Even today with the Affordable Care Act, people are not responsible. They'll roll the dice at somebody else's expense. And two, it's all about government power. Let's understand that. We haven't learned well from history, and we're repeating a cycle of history that goes back to why Americans came to this country anyway. That's my 2 cents. So Mark, what's going on with the MLD Agency? Well, last week we're still working with a couple of groups to get them group health insurance. The other thing is we've completed the certification we need for senior citizens, the prescription drug cards, the Medicare Advantage plans. Now we're trying to get the agency itself certified for 2023. That's what's going on. The heat wave we're suffering, I hope you stay cool and comfortable until next week.